It's Wednesday, October 8th, and you're watching the Hammer Daily here on the Hammer Betting Network presented by FanDuel Sportsbook. We have a great show for you today. I'm your host here, Jace Cooper, alongside my producer in the chair behind the board, Jacob Gramenya. We're going to look forward to what we have today. Talking some baseball, talking some college football, talking some NFL market moves. We got a good cast of characters for you, starting with Mr. Peanutbettor. Coming on first, of course, talking college football, breaking down, looking ahead to week 7. I say this every week. Is it already week 7? It is. It's crazy. Time flies very fast, especially when we're doing this show. Super excited for our MLB guest today, Derek Carty. Very, very tough for Mr. Peanutbettor, who has to lead ahead of Derek Carty, but it's okay. We've put him in a bad spot before. I think he'll do fine. Derek Carty is going to be breaking down all the MLB games. Hopefully he's going to have some props for you. We'll talk a little bit about that with him. And then finally, Rob Pizzola is going to come on. He's going to talk NFL market moves. And as I always like to say, the best preview to that segment is to go back and listen to the Sunday Reset. Reference a lot of stuff they talk about there. They discuss the opening line Sunday night on the Forward Progress HQ YouTube channel. You want to check that out if you're interested in where the market's moving, because that will help you if you're betting sides and totals during the week on the NFL. It'll give you a better feel of where the market's going and ultimately get you that CLV, which is what we're all looking for. Before we get into today's show, though, just want to quickly remind you, we do have our Circles Off Q&A coming up around the corner. You're going to want to check that out. And the best way to drop a question is by responding to the comment section down below. Just type in your comment, any questions you have. Drop in the comment section down below, number 1. Number 2, you can tweet it at us or DM us on Twitter. 3, you can email us at circlesoff@thehammer.bet. And then 4, you can post it off in the Circles Off Q&A Discord channel. Just head over to our Discord, discord.gg/hammer, if you're interested in doing that. Before we get into today's show, just want to quickly talk about the Jonathan Gannon fining, because I feel like I have a slightly different opinion than most people. And I think, Jacob, you and I were talking about it before the show as well. You and I slightly differ on opinions here. I think...
Explain what happened in case anyone didn't see it.
Obviously, if you haven't seen the Mary DeMercado fumble, I don't know what you're doing. But yeah, Mary DeMercado, 70-yard run, fumbles it on the goal line, ends up to
he dropped the ball. He was celebrating early, dropped the ball instead of scoring a touchdown.
Yes. Ended up being a swing for the game. Obviously, you can't do that. But after it came out, video on the sideline, Jonathan Gannon hitting his player, which is like...
Gave him a bit of a punch in the chest.
Yeah.
A little bit. Not full force, but... pretty big hit by Jonathan Gannon.
Yes.
And he got fined $100K.
There you go. He got fined $100K. And I think that's the right thing to do, because I think if you allow that...
Punch your player. Right thing to
do. No. Fine him. Because if you allow that, that's a terrible precedent. What if DeMercado just swung on Gannon then? I get that he was in the wrong, but by hitting someone, you are also in the wrong.
Yeah, I guess he's not going to play any more snaps. He may as well have hit him.
I guess he's going to get cut anyways. But yeah, no, I just think a lot of people were up in arms about this. I get it. It's football. They hit each other. But it's also a workplace. What if Rob just came up to me and hit me because I
your relationship with your coach is different than a boss, though.
I guess.
I kind of see what you're saying.
But also, it's slightly on you. You're the head honcho. You're the one who's coaching things. How do you not coach this out of your players? You shouldn't have to. But even if the fact that they are willing to do that, you should be able to coach it out of them. So partially on you. I think the fine is okay. I think it's acceptable.
I think it was pretty soft. I gotta be honest. Maybe NFL sends him an email saying look, you're representing the league here, and we don't want people to see something like this. But $100K, that cost his team the game. That might cost him his job. I'd be fired up. I'd be pissed off. And
no, I'm sorry. We can't say it's going to cost him his job, because there are many instances and opportunities that Jonathan Gannon has had previous to this where he's going to get fired because of those reasons, not because of Mary DeMercado fumble. Sure. That's a cop-out, I think. But I get what you're saying,
it's a humongous moment for the game. The Cardinals win the game if he scores that touchdown. Almost certainly, almost 100% certainty they would have won the game if he scored that touchdown.
Yeah, but there were also plenty of other opportunities there to score a touchdown as well. Listen, you run the ball in 3rd and 8. There's plenty of missteps they took in that game. Obviously, to look at that big play, it's easy to focus on that one alone.
But $100K, man, I know it's like chump change for some of these guys.
For him, it's nothing.
But $100K for that is crazy. I understand some sort of discussion about it, but $100K, no.
Yeah. All right, fair enough. It's also, I do want to point out, it was from the team itself, not the NFL. So the team.
Oh,
yeah, it was the Cardinals. I believe
NFL.
so. Yeah, maybe someone can comment on the
I'll have to look.
on that. But yeah, anyways, enough of that. Just wanted to get that off my chest. Coming up right now, we have Mr. Peanutbettor. You've seen him on Circle Back. He's occasionally on the Friday show. He is a top-tier gambling Twitter shit poster, and he's joining us today. Mr. Peanutbettor, how's it going?
Good. I think that you're kind of underselling yourself there. I think that you take the beatings from Rob pretty gracefully and have rarely complained on air about how many times he hits you off camera when you screw up.
This is why we bring you on the show. I will neither confirm. No, obviously that stuff doesn't happen. I have to say that for legal reasons. Rob is actually behind me right now saying you better say that. Anyways, what's your opinion on that, the Mercado stuff, just out of curiosity? Like, you agree, disagree, you don't really care, you don't watch football, so you didn't even know what happened. No, sorry, you don't watch NFL football, so you don't even know what happened.
So I think that comparing it to your workplace is a little bit like non-genuine, because how often you see players get in fights all the time. Like, if that happened at your workplace and you and Jacob started throwing fists at each other, that would be a huge deal. But we write it off because it's a physical sport. I think that coaches actually are not violently, but are kind of hitting guys in a physical way. They're being physical with players more than like you would actually think that guys are actually being physical with one another. I think that's a lot of money to fine him for it. I don't think that he particularly was trying to hurt him in any way. I think he was trying to pump him up, get in his head. I understand the fine for it because they don't want to let that be a precedent, but it seems like a bit much, but I'm not the one to kind of decide those things. It also feels like he's probably gone anyway, so I'll agree with you there. Where I push back is you saying that he needs to coach us out of him. Do you want them to practice continuing running into the end zone before they drop the ball?
That's what I said off show. That's exactly what I said to him.
That's something that you either got or you don't. I mean, I don't know if that's something that needs to be really like hunkered down and practice on.
I'm not saying that you practice it every single day and all that sort of stuff, but like, you see it happening in the league for the past, like, literally 2 weeks in a row it happens. There's got to be like, guys, in the first meeting we have, if any of you fucking do this, you're cut. So don't do it. Simple as that.
That's what he said. Maybe he said, any of you do this, I'm going to put a punch right in your chest if you do this. So I think maybe that he was trying to instill this so nobody drops it again.
Okay, now I have a different perspective on it. Thank you for that, Mike. Appreciate it. All right, let's get into this this slate of games, because we're really excited to talk about a lot of things, a lot of moving parts here. Week 7 already, can't believe it. Season's almost half over in college football. Let's start with some underrated games, looking in the American Conference. 2 games that pretty important for that conference this week. You have USF taking on North Texas. North Texas, 1.5 point underdogs at home, 68.5 total. And then you have ECU taking on Tulane. 6.5 point favorites. Tulane is minus 118, slightly juiced, 53.5 total. Can you break down both these games here for us and the importance of them?
For sure. East Carolina didn't have a huge, shot of winning the conference heading in, and it's kind of a surprise that they've been this good. They have a coach that they brought in. He was actually an interim, did well in that job, and is taken over as a full-time gig. They're playing with tempo. They're really aggressive. I think that they've kind of surprised people on how good they've been this season versus Tulane, who is expected to be here. Obviously, they have the BYU transfer coming in, who's been, mixed success so far. So that game is something that probably wasn't on anyone's schedule before the season, and now actually might be pretty important for the standings. And then on the other end, South Florida, North Texas, both these teams like to air the ball out. The total is in the high 60s here. I don't think it's touched 70 yet. I think it's, looks like it's 67 at most places, 68. And that game is going to be back and forth. There's a ton of talent on South Florida side. We saw them beat Florida earlier in the year. At quarterback, Brown is a stud. And, North Texas has been a team that was always had the offense, and this year brought in a ton of defensive transfers. They brought in Sam Houston's old defensive coordinator, a young guy, I believe, just like barely in his 30s. And he brought in like 13 guys with him to kind of remake that defense. So both of these, both them and ECU are a bit of a surprise for the conference. So weekday football, and you got, maybe guys trying to shoot themselves into the conference title game here.
All right, love it. Weekday football is always the best. It's going to be a Thursday night game. Do you have a certain side or anything you like in these Thursday night games?
Yeah, I mean, so I was heavy on South Florida and North Texas coming into the season. This is like watching my 2 children fight with one another. At the current number, I kind of like North Texas.
Okay.
I think that they're at home. They're coming off a bye. If you do like North Texas, I would say I think that if you're leaning that direction, taking them to win the conference is better than the side right now, just based on how their schedule sets up afterwards. So if that's the side you're leaning for North Texas, I would go ahead and take them to win the American at like plus 400 rather than the head-to-head matchup. But yeah, that's kind of the way I'm leaning. Although South Florida also has probably be my second favorite team to win the conference in there as well.
Yeah, North Texas plus 410 to win the conference. South Florida plus 370. Maybe you can get yourself a little bit of future equity sweat going there if you want to bet that for the Friday night game. Let's flip over and move on. Talk about Oklahoma versus Texas, one of the marquee games of the week. Texas minus 1.5 points favorites right now. Basically a pick 'em. Total sitting at 43.5. Let's look at it from the Texas side first, because it looks like John Mateer might be available. But we know how weird, how like fake injuries are in college with the injury reports, with the lack of injury reports. Excuse me. This is like a very, very important game for Texas. Essentially need to save their season if they want to make the playoffs. Are you horns up or horns down this week?
I still think that there's a chance the Horns can right the ship. I don't think it's very high. I'm not someone who's looking to buy them going into the game. I don't have any Texas position. But if you had to ask me overall, what do I think? I wouldn't give up on the team that's super talented across the board, has a very good head coach just yet, even with the 2 losses. They've been ugly losses, but they're also at the shoe and in the swamp, probably 2 of the harder places to play against 2 of the more talented teams in the country. So am I totally out on Texas? Not yet. But obviously, if they don't get the win here, it's looking pretty bleak for them. There's a chance a Texas team with 3 losses could still get in. But if they have already lost 3 at this point in the season, I don't see how they're going to, turn things around at that point.
All right, let's flip over and talk about this from the Oklahoma side. Mateer, if he does play, how much do you think this moves the line in favor of Oklahoma? Because we know we're at like kind of a midpoint right now where there's a little bit of uncertainty to what percentage this current number is at, and related to Mateer's playing. I have no idea. You would know better than me. But let's say he were to play. Where would you see this number move out to? Number 1, and then number 2, if he does play, would you look to the second you have a good feel if he's playing or not? Would you look towards maybe not betting on this game, not betting on Oklahoma here, but maybe look towards betting on him to win the Heisman if he's looking to play?
Yeah, I looks like to me that he is somewhere around 50%. That's just a rough read. I don't particularly know. I think if he gets ruled in, you could see it go all the way out to 3. I don't think that it would last at 3. I don't think that it closes at 3 really either side, whether he's in or out. I would guess that it's within that mark. But if he plays and he comes back from this thumb surgery faster than anyone expected, first we have to give credit to, as he says, Dr. Shin, the GOAT. But also I think that at 10-1 for his Heisman odds, you have to at least look at him at that range just because he was the favorite heading in, got injured. He comes back from an injury and a miraculous timeline, comes back, beats Texas in one of the biggest rivalries in the country. They have a tough schedule the rest of the way. Oklahoma still isn't guaranteed, even if they win this game, to make the playoffs. But man, I mean, you have a hard time finding a resume better than that so far. So I think that if he gets ruled in, that's where I would bet rather than looking at kind of the money line.
Okay, yeah, 10-1 right now, like you mentioned, over on FanDuel. And I know this is like we talked a lot about Heisman all throughout the year. I feel like it's just a good thing to talk about. But we know it's a November award. But at the same time, this is when the stories get built out. And I think John Mateer is starting to have that good story built out for him. So as long as he has the stats and the season to back it up, the thumb injury coming back so soon, looking great off the thumb injury as well, it's enough of a storyline where if we look down the board, there's not really many stories to be told that writers can be fascinated with to win this Heisman Award. All right, let's flip over and talk Alabama at Missouri. I think this is maybe the most two ranked teams, 2 good teams, but I think it's one of the most under talked about game of the week. Let's call it that. Huge game for both schools. My question though is about Mizzou. They've looked great to start the season. Their defense has looked like one of the best in the country, but also quality of competition hasn't been there. This is their toughest test by far up to this season. So is Mizzou, no pun intended, a paper tiger, or are they legit?
I think Mizzou's legit. They had a lot of guys returning on defense this year. And the question was, could the offense get back to a level that has been at previous seasons under Eli Drinkowitz? And They got a transfer quarterback in Bo Perbula from Penn State. Some questions whether maybe Penn State should have kept on to him at this point in time, but he's been really good for them. There was questions whether he could pass the ball at the level needed kind of to win at the SEC or if he was just an athlete. So far, he's passed those tests kind of with flying colors. They haven't played a road game yet, but if they beat Alabama in this game, I really think that they're pretty much a lock to make the playoffs despite not even winning a road game yet this season. So I think that Missouri really has a chance to lock in the playoffs with this win just based on their remaining schedule. Obviously they can still, it's college football, anything can happen. They can still crap the bed later on, but this puts them in the driver's seat to make the playoffs, potentially make an SEC title game with this win here. Perbula has been great so far. 3-point spread against one of the best teams in the country shows that the market believes in them as a real team. So it will be interesting to see kind of how they perform it with their first real test other than Kansas, which was, half a test.
Okay. Mizzou to make the playoffs right now, plus 168. Them to win this game, plus 132. You mentioned easier schedule. If you had to pick between the two, and you had a strong feel, like you wanted to bet on Missouri in this game, would you just bet we mentioned earlier? Would you bet them just to make the playoffs, get a little bit of future equity, or would you want to just bet them to win this game?
Yeah, if I liked them to win this game, I would lean more towards either betting them to make the playoffs or betting them to win the SEC overall. I think that their schedule lines up pretty favorably after this. I think that their resume is already pretty good with a win versus Kansas, which would lean more towards the playoff route. And if you're asking me if they win this game, the probability of them not making the playoffs is pretty low. And if they lose this game, I think the probability of them making the playoffs still is relatively decent. So I would go more towards playoffs rather than taking the money line in this game.
All right, let's breeze through a couple more games here. 11-1 to win the SEC over on FanDuel for Mizzou. Let's breeze through these next couple games. We have 3 games. Oregon versus Indiana. Oregon's 7.5-point favorites here on the road. 55.5 total. We've talked up Oregon all year. One of the better teams, one of the best teams in the country. This would put them in a firm grasp of the Big Ten title. What are your thoughts on this game?
This game to me is more about Indiana than it is about Oregon. Last year, Indiana beat up on the weak teams, and then when they faced Ohio State in the real game they had against an opponent with skill of that level, they kind of turtled, and late in the game they punted in a questionable situation. They were running clock at the end of the game in order to make it seem like less of a blowout, in my opinion. So that time, I didn't think that they were ready kind of to compete with the big dogs. And now this year, they seem different. Along the lines of scrimmage are much better. We've seen that in the matchup so far, but really it's just the bodies they have, I think, are different than what they had last season and make them more prepared to play real opponents than they were last season. So I think that they're more prepared, but here comes the first test. They're going into Oregon. That won't be an easy place to play. It's interesting that they're only 7-point dogs compared to last year versus Ohio State. They were larger underdogs despite a better record at that point in the year. So this is their first real test. I think that this year's Indiana team is different than last year's in the fact that they have more real guys and can compete at the highest levels. So we'll see, though, this Saturday. Even if they don't win, I think they have a chance to at least cement themselves as in that range. And for Oregon, this is basically their chance to lock up a Big Ten title game appearance. They did that last year, winning the Big Ten, and now they have a chance to go again in their first 2 seasons there.
All right, let's flip over and talk. How long do I have you for? Okay, I have you for 2 more minutes. Let's combine both these 2 games together. Oklahoma State versus Illinois. Illinois 14.5-point dogs at home, ranked matchup. Doesn't seem like anyone is believing in this Illinois team. This Ohio State defense, like we talked about, I think every single week I come on here, Ohio State's the best team in the country, the best team in the country. No roster turnover, great transfer portal, great recruiting class. So tell me a little bit about this matchup. Do you think Illinois has a chance? What do you make of this Ohio State defense? They're the best we've seen in a long time.
Yeah, PJ Fleck said it's the best defense he's seen during his time as a head coach, and he's incentivized to upflate them as they crushed him during that game. But I really think if you're looking back over the past 10, 15 years, it's hard to find a defense that has less flaws than this Ohio State one so far. They haven't really faced anyone that we would consider a dominant offense now that we know what Texas is. But just on paper, these guys have players at all levels. They have a dominant secondary. They have a defensive line that's playing out of their mind right now, and they have some of the best linebackers in the country. So you'd have to go back to some of those Saban Alabama teams, really, when the sport was completely different, before there was a ton of tempo in it, to find a defense that was this dominant. I've tried to kind of think back over the years and see, but there isn't anyone that I see that's been truly at the level of the Buckeyes over the past 10 years. So they have to keep it up. We'll see. Illinois is really a pretty good offense, despite the showing versus Indiana. I think that they've been one of the better passing teams in the country. So we'll see if Ohio State can prove it versus them, and there'll be tougher, teams on the schedule coming up. But right now, they look like the best defense I've seen in quite some time.
A couple of guys are going to look towards the NFL draft as well. Caleb Downs, Sonny Styles, Arvell Reese, great players on defense, tough defense as well. Again, Ohio State to win the Natty. We've been talking it up all year. It's super chalk, but you know what? Chalk wins. And even though it's still it's plus 400 right now, still like that. Last game here, Utah, Arizona State. Utah is 5.5-point favorites here on the road. This is essentially puts you in a spot to compete for the Big 12 title game. Let's call it a Big 12 title eliminator. What any opinion on this game? Totals at 48.5. Where do you lean here?
Right now, I'd lean towards Utah. Based on the spread, the market clearly does too. It's at Utah. That's a tough place to say. Yeah. Texas Tech did go in and kind of dominated them along the lines of scrimmage, which most people did not expect, certainly at Utah. But Arizona State doesn't have those kind of bodies along the lines, and I don't think that they're as physical as Utah. So Utah's looked great in every game besides that. I still think that they're the second best team in the conference, and a game at home at night, I think that they are well positioned to make themselves the second best team in the conference and get a rematch versus Texas Tech in the title game.
All right, that's. I mean, you shot on my playoff predictions where I had Arizona State winning the winning the conference there. So that about lines up. Mr. Peanutbettor, Mike, appreciate you joining the show today. Any last thoughts here for this week 7? Anything you're looking forward to in particular?
I'm just hoping that Rob doesn't hit you too hard in between these breaks here. So that's just stay safe, Jason.
All right, sounds good. Appreciate you joining the show. You can follow Mike or Mr. Peanutbettor, whatever you want to refer to him as, on Twitter at Mr._Peanutbettor. I finally got it right after 6-7 weeks. So there you go, Mike. We'll talk soon. Appreciate you. All right, that was Mike. Good stuff. Before we get into our next guest here, I just want to give you a quick shout out to our sponsors over at FanDuel. Hockey is back, and FanDuel is giving you a shot at boosted winnings when you make a bet on all the action on the rink. Because right now, all customers have a chance to score big and win a 50% profit boost. Just make your pick, apply the boost, and if it hits, you'll get extra winnings at no extra cost. And with FanDuel, you can bet on goal scores, assists, points, saves, and so much more. Plus, you'll get paid your winnings instantly. Ready to play your game? Visit FanDuel.com/forward progress to get in on the action. That's FanDuel.com/forward progress to claim your 50% profit boost. You can score big on your next hockey bet with FanDuel, an official partner of the NHL. Please play responsibly. Must be 21 plus and present in select states. For Kansas, in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, 19 plus and physically located in Ontario, or 18 plus and present in DC, Kentucky, or Wyoming. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost token. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit rghelp.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut, or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 1-800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. Call Connex Ontario at 1-866-531-2600 or visit connexontario.ca. All right. We talk some college football. Up next, we have sorry, I just saw the chat message. Me not shoehorning USC into this segment was 100-1. So Chatters cashed that one. Peanutbettor didn't want to talk about it. Maybe we'll get it later on in the week. Anyways, done with college football. Let's flip over to baseball. He's an MLB and NFL fantasy and betting analyst. You've seen his projections on FanGraphs, Roto Grinders, EV Analytics. Big Saber Metrics guy. He's here to talk about baseball. Derek Carty, how's it going today?
Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah, excited to have you on the show. Baseball's been fun, especially in the city of Toronto. Excited to look forward and talk through these series and games right now. Let's start with Seattle and Detroit right now. Essentially a pick 'em. Detroit's favorite at home, -112 over on FanDuel. Miller going for Seattle's only hit 6 innings since returning from injury once. I believe he's only finished 6 innings once. Do you think this Mariners team can get enough out of him without having to rely on the pen early in this game? And then also, do you see Detroit being able to push to a Game 5, get Skubal back on the bump, break down this game for us here? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think 6 innings is a lot to expect of anybody, especially in the postseason when teams are really very, very eager to give the starter the hook if he's not pitching well. I do think Bryce Miller's a good pitcher, though. Like, his ERA this year looked really bad. It was almost 6, but you look under the hood and he's a much better pitcher than that. You look historically, you look at his stuff plus, you look at his peripherals. He's a lot better. So I do kind of like Miller, I think maybe more than the general public will. I kind of think the Mariners here are the team to beat. Tigers are a fun story this year, especially with the collapse and then still making the playoffs and then beating Cleveland. But I see a little bit of value on the Mariners money line.
All right, Mariners, like we mentioned, -106 here on the side over at FanDuel. Do you like anything else in terms of this game? Any player props you're looking towards? And then also, would you consider like betting the spread maybe or alt lines here if you really like the Mariners and this number?
I don't think I'd be betting the spread. I don't think I'd be betting many alts here. I see a little bit of value on the money line at this number, but it's not massive, and so I'm not going crazy with anything. In terms of props, I think Casey Mize over 9.5 outs -115 or so looks like a pretty decent bet right now. Generally in the playoffs, like I said, we see these starters have much shorter leashes. They get pulled at the first sign of trouble. But even once you account for that, my projection system, the BATX, still has him with some pretty good value on the over. I think the markets have almost overreacted a little bit this year in terms of these types of pitchers and what kind of leash they're going to have. Obviously, if he struggles, he could be out in the first or second inning. But I think on average, you're going to see him go a little bit deeper than this.
Yeah, hopefully more than one time through the order here at only 9.5. Only 9.5 outs seems a little low. Quickly scanning the market here, it seems like one of the better. There's a couple better prices out there in market. -136 over at FanDuel. It's consensus around -130. There's one rogue number, but you wouldn't be able to bet there. Most people wouldn't be able to bet there. Anyways, let's flip over.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's flip over. Talk Milwaukee and Chicago again. Another game, close game, almost a pick 'em. Chicago -116 favorites at home. Chicago's really struggled to put the ball in play and get on base. Can the Chicago bats kind of figure it out here and push the series to another game at home? What do you have? What's your opinion on this game for us?
I think the game lines for this look like they're handicapped pretty fairly. I don't see value either way on these teams. I do think the thing that's going to matter the most today when we're talking about whether the bats can come alive is the weather. In Wrigley Field, wind matters a lot, and we have wind blowing in today. So that is definitely going to help the pitchers. But again, I see the game total being projected fairly. I see the money lines for both teams being projected fairly. So this is probably just an avoid spot for me in terms of game line stuff.
And again, same question here. Any player props for you that you like in this game?
Yeah, similar to Mize, I think you can make a case for either of the starting pitchers here, for Priester or for Jameson Taillon. Priester, we have over 12.5 at +110. Taillon over 11.5 at -154. Both showing some value. I'm only projecting either one for 70 or so pitches, but again, you don't have to do a whole lot to go over these really low lines, especially on a day where the wind is blowing in, where it should be pitcher friendly. I kind of think the value on the overs here is where it's at.
Okay, yeah, over 11.5 -154 for Taillon on FanDuel, and then Quinn Priester +110 over 12.5 on FanDuel as well. Let's flip over and talk our Jays. I've been waiting for this moment for a little bit here. When I say our Jays, I mean my Jays, not your Jays. I don't know if you're a fan of the Blue Jays. I doubt you are. Talking to producer as well. Man, this is like such a tough game for us here. You know the history of us with not only Toronto baseball, but Toronto sports in general. Anytime we're up, we can't be celebrating anything. It's always nerve-wracking for us. And of course, of all the things, it's like a perfect storm of disaster that happens. It feels like it's a must-win game for us. Every single game is. You want to close the series out. But Louis Varland starts for us. It's a bullpen game. I know that was the plan out of the gate. I mean, like, I just, as a Toronto fan, as a baseball fan, how do the Blue Jays get 27 outs here with their bullpen seemingly struggling against this Yankees team? Give me a breakdown of this game. Give me a reason to not be nervous about this game, or am I just going to be biting my nails the entire night?
No, I think you need to be nervous here. Obviously, the Yankees are favored, and I think for good reason. But I do think the value is on the Jays. You can get them plus 144 at FanDuel right now, and the BATX has the fair price at 118. So there's definitely some value here. After we see Varland for an inning or two, I think there's a decent chance we'll see a couple innings of Eric Lauer, who's pretty fresh and can give some length. And I think there was even some whispers of maybe Kevin Gausman pitching for an inning, using it as like his side day. So we'll have to see if they can get, especially to the late innings. You have Dominguez fresh, you have Hoffman fresh. We'll have to see, but I do think the value here is on the Jays.
All right, I love hearing that. Plus 144 on the Jays over at FanDuel. I'm gonna click after this show. I'll tell you that for free, just to get another sweat. I have series prices on them, but you know what? Like, I like to torture myself. Any props you like in this game?
This game, not a whole lot sticking out to me in terms of props.
Okay. I got a question for you about this about the Jays though. If they do end up going to a fifth game, probably going to be Gausman on the bump. But do you think we could see Yesevich, who's been like incredible in the few starts that he's had? Do you think he can come in relief at some point? Do you think he's going to be operating out of the pen in that game?
I think it's certainly possible. You know, it's kind of an all hands on deck situation, and he's a young guy. You don't want to sacrifice, his future for a short-term gain, but it is a pretty important short-term gain. And so if they think he's able to do it, then I think, it's certainly on the table.
Yeah, it's always nice seeing a young kid come up in Toronto. He's like has so much swagger, and like just that game too was incredible to watch. Hopefully we can close out this series tonight, not even have to worry about that, and look forward to our next series. Last game we have on the slate here: Philadelphia Phillies taking on the Dodgers. Dodgers heavy favorites at home right now. Seems like the positive regression is hitting for the Dodgers. They kind of got riddled with injuries throughout the year. They figured out their starting pitcher staff after the All-Star break. Can they close it out here? This is the team that we expected the Dodgers to be out the gate, and we're finally seeing it. Is this the game where they close it out? Give us your thoughts on this game.
Yeah, I mean, they're a pretty heavy favorite here, and I have them projected as almost exactly the same as the books do. The Dodgers are the best team in baseball. The Phillies are really good, and I would love to see the Phillies pull it out. But I think the Dodgers definitely underperformed their talent level this year. I think they're the best team, certainly the best team in this game, in this setup with the pitching matchup and everything else. So I don't see any value betting on them, but I do think that they are the rightful favorite here.
All right. Same question here as I asked every other game. Any props you like in particular?
Yeah, Yamamoto under outs and under strikeouts, I think both look solid at this point. You can get under outs under 17.5 plus 116. You can get the strikeouts 7.5 minus 146. This is these are big numbers for postseason. I mentioned how the books have overreacted in terms of some guys, and I feel like they've almost underreacted in terms of some of these aces. If Yamamoto is dealing, of course he's going to be able to stay in the game. We're going to want to get through here, but he's facing a really good Phillies team. It's in a sneaky good hitters park in LA. And, if he is giving up some hits, they could pull the quick hook here. They have a fresh bullpen. They have plenty of options here. So I think the unders on Yamamoto are intriguing.
All right. 17.5 outs plus 116 available at FanDuel for the under on his pitching outs. Before I let you go here, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit. Going to ask you for a prediction. Doesn't have to be tied to any odds, just what you want, what you think will happen, whatever you choose. Give me the ALDS winner, NLDS winner, the AL winner, NL winner, and then the World Series winner between the two.
I think it's going to be the Dodgers from the NL. I think if the Yankees can win it tonight, I'd probably take them for the World Series. Otherwise, I think Seattle, and it's going to be the Dodgers, regardless.
All right, so you're telling me our Blue Jays have absolutely no hope if they can't pull it out tonight. That's painful to hear.
Well, not no hope, but they become underdogs as opposed to favorites, which they are now.
Okay.
So, and if they can pull it out tonight, then I think they'd probably be a favorite to make it to the World Series.
All right, that's closer to what I wanted to hear, Derek. I appreciate it. Anyways, you can follow Derek on Twitter. Link in the description down below. Derek, appreciate you joining us here today. We'll talk soon.
All right, appreciate it.
All right, have a good one, Derek. Awesome stuff from Derek Carty. One's in the chat. If you enjoyed that segment. I'm worried about the Jays. What can I say? I'm worried about the Jays.
We're cooked, man.
I know. It's like I didn't let myself believe when they scored the those four run inning, go up 5 runs, 6-1, whatever it was at the time. I just like.
I have a friend who I met at school, and anyways, he lives in Ottawa. He just moved to Toronto, so he's an Ottawa Senators fan, so he's a predominantly non-Toronto sports fan. So when it was 6-1, and he was like talking about the ALCS, I like, look, you're not from around here.
Yeah.
This game, let alone this series, is extraordinarily far from over. And by the end of the game, I said, welcome to Toronto. This is what we do year round, buddy.
Listen, I give him some credence here from Ottawa. Obviously, you're going to be an Ottawa Senators fan, but there's too many people who live in our city, live in Toronto, who are like fans of the Blue Jays, fans of the Raptors, but not fans of the Leafs. And like that stuff pisses me off. Like, you're born and raised here. Why the fuck are you like a Habs fan or a Bruins fan?
Yeah.
Like, that stuff bothers me.
I don't like that either.
I hate that shit.
Even worse when it's like an American team too. At least like the sense there could be some
I get it.
geographical tie there.
Yes, maybe your family's French from Quebec, so that's why you're a Canadians fan. I get that. But you're freaking born and raised in Toronto. What are you doing being like a
Red Wings fan?
Yes,
something.
yes. My friend is a Steelers fan. He's a Penguins fan, but he's a Jays fan. I'm like, buddy, why aren't you also a Pirates fan? You're just like, you're killing the bit here. Like, you just get the hell out of here. It's
a bit strange. I always found that a bit strange.
I hate that stuff. But I obviously, listen, I get why some people might have geographical ties, but no, it's just annoying. It's just annoying. And then people are on me, why don't you have your favorite NFL team? Because I don't want a favorite NFL team.
Well,
I like watching ball.
I have a favorite NFL team.
I just like watching. I'm a ball
Toronto
guy.
NFL team.
There you go. I just like, why can't I just be a ball enjoyer? If there was a Toronto team, they would become my favorite team, but there is none. So I'm just a ball enjoyer. But yeah, Toronto everything.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Also, if you're like a Toronto fan, you only have the bandwidth to be a Toronto fan. Like, at least I do. Like, I don't know how you do this to yourself being also a Giants fan.
Well, I'm thinking of Ian McMillan. He's a Falcons fan on top of all the Toronto sports teams. Poor fucking guy.
It's tough. Tough sledding. Maybe I'm not built for it. I don't know. Like, yeah, but my Leafs bandwidth it's all I can take of being a fan. It's just, anyways, maybe we can talk a little bit of hockey with Rob later on here. But Rob's going to be joining the show talking about some NFL. Before he joins, though, just want to remind you guys that we have a Wednesday newsletter. First of all, if you're not tuned in on our Monday newsletter, you should be. If you like betting on the NFL, if you like looking early for those practice reports and what you expect for injuries, if you don't trust ESPN injuries, they're never accurate. We've compiled everything through Twitter, through watching the games for these injuries. So Monday newsletter, pretty important to follow. We also have a Wednesday newsletter, which I want to talk to you about. It's a really good one. We get the first practice reports up. It's going to come out later tonight. There's some unique stats and infos going on. Then, of course, we have our update to our super team contest, where we 2 teams, 5 guys, head-to-head. I'm one of them. We pick a spread that we like in the given week. We try and win. This week was tough. I picked the Eagles. I really thought they were going to push downfield a little bit more, and they did. So I thought that 3.5 number they were going to be able to cover, but just an epic collapse to end that game. And not only did they not cover, they lose outright. So thought I had a good one there, but it's all right. Back to 3-1 or 3-2. Sorry, back to 3-2. Looking to get a win this week. Rob, I see you behind the scenes. You're waving at the camera. I see you. I'm going to bring you up here in a second. I wish the chat could see that. That was hilarious. He's the CEO of the Hammer Betting Network. You've seen him on Circles Off YouTube channel. You also seen him on our live watch-alongs Monday night on Forward Progress. Rob, how's it going this week?
It's going okay. What you saw behind the scenes was I have this habitual shaking my leg problem. I cannot stop. I just constantly shake my leg, and it shakes my camera to the point where it starts to blur the camera. So I then have to put my palm really, really close here to try to get it back to focus on me. So that's what was going on behind the scenes. I wasn't waiting for you to like tag me in or anything like that.
Okay. I thought that was just like instinct coming out, like Jonathan Gannon-esque, where you're like, I did something wrong. Just bang, bang. No, I'm kidding. All right, let's talk about the NFL games here. Let's start with Philadelphia and the Giants game, the Thursday night football game. We've seen this total kind of come down a little bit, opened up 42.5 at most places. FanDuel had it at 41.5. I think there was just no appetite to take the over on this game with, again, like I mentioned off the top, Philadelphia being a little bit vanilla, the same word we've used all year. I've used other words, but got reprimanded for it. Bet down. It's below 41 right now. Do you think it's going to go any lower? Or is this like about the spot with the Eagles being like a little slow on offense and a Jackson Dart rookie quarterback heading up against a tough Vic Fangio defense?
Yeah, I'm actually more interested to see if there is any buyback the other way at this point. So 41 is a key number when it comes to totals. Totally understand the move towards the under. Me and Clive were talking about this on Sunday Reset on Forward Progress. I think it was 42.5 at the time at first open. But you mentioned it, the Eagles offense, I mean, it leaves a lot to be desired. The Giants is not looking very good either when you consider, Jackson Dart is causing his own fumbles like he did last week. Plus, you got O-line injuries. Jermaine Illuminor, the right tackle for the Giants, is in doubt to play. Landon Dickerson for Philly. So you put all that together, and naturally, I see why money comes in on the under. Now there's a question of, we've gone through this key number of 41. Is there an appetite to buy it back? My guess is no. I think this will probably settle in the range that it is right now, but I'm interested to see if that happens.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if we get back up. If you still like the under here, I know the number has kind of gone a little bit. You're down through the key number, but if you're still liking, you're watching, you think you might get, we might see it tick down a little bit more, minus 106 over at FanDuel, one of the better prices in market. I'm going to pause for a second here and quickly. I usually do this between guests, between segments. Rob, bring her up on the screen. If half the people watching right now smash the like button, we would get double the likes. So if you could just do a favor, smash the like button, go a long way for us here. And then we'll get into our next team, which is the Arizona Cardinals taking on the Indianapolis Colts. Colts getting a lot of money. Colts probably is the team, the hottest team of the season, probably the team that people have most moved their preseason opinions, preseason priors on. They look incredible. A lot of money in on the over. Got to assume this move has a little bit to do with Kyler Murray being like, I'm not going to say 50-50 to play, but a percentage of him to play or not play. I think he's probably going to play. It's just an educated guess for me. Any opinion on where this number's moved so far?
Yeah, so I'm a little bit surprised at this game, especially the move on the over with the total for the reason that you mentioned. Typically, when you see a quarterback come off a game where he was injured, now we don't know the extent to Kyler Murray, it's kind of surprising to see early money towards the over in that game. And I understand that Indy is an over team right now, especially with the state of their offense, but a little bit surprised by that move. Also with the side move, like that makes more sense. You look at Arizona, okay, potential Kyler Murray not playing. Jacoby Brissett's the backup there, fine backup, but Evan Brown on the O-line is injured. Darius Robinson on the D-line. Max Melton missed last week as well, a cornerback. So they're dealing with a bunch of injuries. That makes sense that Indy goes out that way. But like, at what point is it going to be too far? Because right now, the Colts are basically laying the same number to the Cardinals as they were at home to the Raiders last week. And you can upgrade the Colts even more because they blew out the Raiders. But I think 7 is almost certainly going to be a resistance point. We do see one book out there that has a 7 on Arizona right now. I'm actually surprised it's still there. But I imagine at some point, I'm just guessing here, but I imagine at some point, especially if Kyler Murray's practicing, you might see some buyback towards the Cards here.
Okay, maybe buyback towards the Cards. I wonder if the total wicked up. We saw that wick up because this Indianapolis Colts team, regardless of game state, just seems to be willing to like push the ball downfield. Do you think that has like an effect on maybe that total coming up a little bit?
I don't have the numbers in front of me here. I believe Daniel Jones's ADOT is not super high.
Okay.
I know they're utilizing a lot of play action, but I think there's been a lot of yards after catch stuff there for Indy as well. So I'm not sure that it's like necessarily them pushing the ball downfield that's moving it. I mean, I view Indy as an over team, plain and simple, especially when Kenny Moore is out at slot corner for them as well. But, last couple of games, 46 points, 47 points, right in and around here. I don't know. I just generally speaking, following the markets here for years, it's pretty rare to see a injured quarterback and then an early over take money.
Interesting. All right, let's flip over and talk a team, maybe the Liam Cohen. We got to go check his closet, the skeletons that are in there, because I don't know what he's cooking up. I don't know if he talked to Mike Tomlin this offseason, but he's cooked up some crazy voodoo with his turnover variance. Total opened up in this game at 44.5. Right now, I see it upwards of 47.5 at most places. FanDuel hanging to 47.5 right now. Do you agree with this? With this increase, it opened up at 44.5 on Sunday night, closed for Monday, then reopened at 46. So and still got bet up. So do you agree with this push up in price here?
I mean, that's a pretty big adjustment from 1 week to another. Like look ahead being 44.5, reopen 46.5, gets bet up through the key number of 47 up to 47.5. That is a lot of move there. I think a lot of it is just predicated on the fact that if you look at both of these teams, you got some significant defensive injuries. I mean, the Seahawks defense got carved up by Baker Mayfield last week. There was no Devin Witherspoon, no Julian Love. They lost Reek Woolen in the game. DeMarcus Lawrence didn't play. Those are four key defenders, and I'm not sure how close any of them are going to be to being back this week. When you look at the practice reports for last week, there was tons of DNPs there. So I think naturally it makes sense that you might get some money on the over there. It's just a question of, have we gone too far at this point? And I mean, that's a pretty significant move. So I would feel fairly strongly that at some point or another, someone hits the under in this game. It won't be me. I do think this game profiles as an over, but with that much of a move, I think there's going to be an appetite for someone to bet the under here. Yeah,
for sure. Plus that Seattle injury report on defense not looking too great. My boy Sammy D looking like he can sling. Let's talk about the Chargers and Miami. Chargers just like they were fine for the first 3 weeks, then they got hit with the injury bug like really, really hard. It seems like all the money right now is coming on Miami, and we've seen under money right now, 43.5 right now. I think the look aheads were around 46.5 ish, if I'm looking at this correctly. So we've seen it bet down quite a bit here, 43.5 total in this game. Any opinion on this movement? Do you agree with it here with this injured O-line for the Chargers and like kind of a Miami team that's a little, I don't know, just not great, not so great on offense?
Yeah, so under here was one of my first clicks of this week. We talked about this on Sunday night as well with Clive. And I mean, naturally just makes a whole lot of sense right now. The Chargers O-line is in shambles, and they're struggling to protect Justin Herbert. And naturally what's going to happen when that is the case is you're going to lose some explosive plays on offense, and you're going to try to run the ball more, even with Omarion Hampton out. Miami, on the other hand, Jason, like they can't create explosive plays. They simply can't do it. They couldn't do it when Tyreek Hill was there. Now he's out of the lineup. You're looking at the average depth of target for Tua. It's extremely low. So from a game script point of view here, it's a challenge for me to see any explosive passes really here. And naturally, I see that's why the under came in. Now, with Miami in particular, they drew all the early money. There was a little bit of more support for the Chargers yesterday when the market was painted like 3.5. Chargers got bought a bit. But again, this morning, someone hit Miami at +4 at a pretty sharp sports book. So I guess just people not believers in the Chargers right now with the state of that offensive line. And I mean, candidly, it feels like a team that is a very far cry from the first couple weeks of the season when we thought they were a Super Bowl contender.
Yeah, imagine seeing after week 1 or 2 us clicking under on this Dolphins Miami game under 44.5, which is what it was at before. If I told you that week 2 with like how Miami's defense looked, with how the Chargers offense looked, it feels like a far cry from what we knew earlier on in the season. But that's the NFL; things happen fast. One line, the kind of movement that has me scratching my head a little bit is this Carolina Panthers Dallas Cowboys game. The 3.5s on the Panthers, all gone. Do we think that the move is too much? I feel like Dallas is, I don't know, Carolina, I haven't really seen anything impressive from them this season. Am I missing something in terms of their injury report here? I just feel like that 3.5 felt a little bit right. I like Dallas this year. Sean Heimer's been great in terms of head coach, and no disrespect to Carolina, they haven't really seemed to put a lot together, right? So what am I missing here with people clicking on the 3.5?
I think it's just a numbers grab. Again, I keep referencing the Sunday show. If those don't tune in. Sunday Reset on Sunday nights on Forward Progress right after Sunday Night Football. But this is kind of where I expected that the market would go. It's not a side that I have interest in, but when you look at the way that these two teams have been valued for the majority of the year, it's not surprising. I mean, if you just take like the market rankings in every single week of the season, week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, like you move on, there was never a point where Dallas was going to be over a field goal favorite in this game. And definitely you can upgrade them. Last week, they looked very good against the Jets, but they're still missing a bunch of offensive linemen. They're probably still missing CeeDee Lamb. Like, they're one of the most beat up teams in football. So it's not surprising to see someone come in on the other side. I kind of think this is going to settle in the range that it's at right now. I'd be surprised if we get any more significant movement in this game. I think 3 is just the right number.
Okay, fair enough here. I can understand with the injuries to Dallas, but I just don't know if the Panthers are the right team to be able to take advantage of that. But
they suck. Yeah. The Panthers suck.
Okay.
Yeah,
you said it, not me.
I'm sorry, Eager, but like right now, the Panthers are not very good.
They got a good morale win last week, though. Hopefully, they can scoop up a couple more down the road. Couple more games to have to talk about here. Titans taking on the Raiders. Titans money's come in. Line sitting at around 4.5 right now. It seems like just got clicked up on FanDuel to 5.5, slightly juiced towards Tennessee. But we saw it open at 6, come down to 4.5. Now maybe like slight movement back towards the 5. Back and forth here, a little bit of ping pong action. What's your opinion on this? Is like hard to back Titans team, but also the Raiders don't look too impressive either. I'm lost on this game.
I think that's the thought process for most people, just grabbing the Titans early here, which is just like, can the Raiders be laying this number, right? It was 6 on Sunday night, Monday morning. And listen, I get it. I still think Tennessee's a pretty bad football team who luck boxed their way to an absurd win last year. But I understand if somebody's point of view is just like, well, Las Vegas got to beat me by margin. And like, are they capable of doing that? We haven't seen much from them this season that would indicate otherwise. Geno Smith's been one of the worst quarterbacks in all of football. So I think just a numbers grab, which is not necessarily pro Titans in this game. It's more anti-Raiders.
Okay. And more anti-Raiders than pro Titans makes sense. I mean, Geno Smith continues to turn over the ball the way he's done this season. I can definitely see it being hard to cover more than a field goal there for the Raiders. Big injury game here for San Francisco and Tampa Bay. Maybe 2 of the unluckiest teams of this season in terms of injuries. Someone can fact check me on that. We've seen a little bit of money come in towards the over here. I think a lot is going to depend on if Jawan Jennings and Ricky Pearsall are going to be playing, but seems like Mac Jones is able to sling regardless. Do you agree with the over money? The only thing I'm worried about is I feel like Mac Jones is solved in the NFL. I just disagree. For those who watched last week's Thursday Night Football, I disagree heavily with how Chris Shula was operating that defense. I think if you play press man here, and you blitz heavy on Mac Jones, you can probably figure him out a little bit. They gave him everything underneath. Take that away if the Bucs can take that away, maybe he'll struggle. Anyways, what's your opinion on this over ticking up all the way to around 47.5?
Yeah, I think it has to do with the state of the defenses right now. Like, I wouldn't click anything this early in this game until we see the first practice reports from today. The issue with what you're describing, Jason, is the cornerback situation for the Bucs. Jamel Dean didn't play last week. His backup, Benjamin Morrison, didn't play last week. So they're kind of hurting at corner right now. And if San Fran gets some receivers back, I don't know how you can play a whole lot of man against them necessarily with who the Bucs are going to throw at that corner here. But you know what? Tampa Bay does profile as a pretty big over team right now when you consider the state of their offense, the ability to generate explosive plays. You look at San Fran's defense, already without Nick Bosa on the defensive line. Yetur Gross-Matos got hurt last week. Kalia Davis got hurt. Both of them are doubtful already this week. So very thin on the defensive line. That should give Baker a lot of time. I originally had a lean towards San Fran in this game. I'm just kind of waiting to see how the injuries play out, but not really a surprise to see the over get clicked here with the state of the current defenses.
All right. That makes a little bit of sense there. I can see that happening. It seems like also the dog factor is turned up in a lot of models for Baker Mayfield here, which might contribute to the over money as well. Let's talk about this Sunday night football game. Great Sunday night football game. Super excited for it. Detroit on the road, taking on KC in Arrowhead. A lot of people who don't really like pay attention to and aren't kind of in the in the loop, we'll call it, are probably scratching their head when they see Kansas City minus 2.5-point favorites at home here to Detroit. But it seems like they're getting bet out as well. So a lot of people who are in the know, who do bet on this stuff, like KC in this game. We've also seen the total of this game tick up towards 52.5. Maybe for those who don't know, tell us why KC is getting kind of all the money getting bet out here to the 2.5. And what's your opinion on the total?
Yeah, so a lot of people are going to scratch their heads for sure, Jason, because they're going to be like, well, Detroit looks really good. Kansas City doesn't. How could this possibly be? And whenever you have a cluster injury at any key position in the NFL, it is going to move the market in some capacity. And if you're looking at the Detroit Lions this week, if you went through their depth chart at the beginning of the year and you ranked all of their cornerbacks, they're going to be down their top 4 corners. Ennis Rakestraw's already on IR. DJ Reed's already on IR. Terrion Arnold is going to be out for a long period of time. Khalil Dorsey's not going to play. That is going to leave them extremely thin at cornerback in this game. So naturally, what's the market going to do? It's going to push towards the over. It's going to push towards the Chiefs. You know what? If you don't agree with it and you think the Chiefs stink, you can still bet the Detroit Lions. But if you're trying to understand why the line is where it's at, it's because Detroit's not going to have any good, healthy corners this week. And that could potentially be a problem as the Chiefs receiving core has gotten better with the return of Xavier Worthy. So that's why the market is where it is right now. And, if somebody's like, they're trying to bait me, they're trying to trap me into something like that. Well, it's just an injury thing.
Yeah, of course. I saw a lot of the trap line stuff, but I also saw a lot of people who were actually genuinely curious and just didn't understand it. And again, that's kind of what we're here to do, is trying to inform those people if they don't understand these movements. So why that might be the case. Let's close out with one of the Monday Night Footballs, another Monday Night Football doubleheader here. More interested in talking about the Buffalo game. Buffalo taking on the Falcons here. We saw some early Falcons money, then we saw some Bills buyback. What's your opinion on this ping ponging right now? It's 4.5, slightly juiced towards Buffalo here at minus 118. Any opinion on this side in the game and the number on the spread here, 4.5?
Yeah, so Falcons, like you said, got all bought up early, and I think that makes sense. They're coming off of a bye week. You don't really have any significant injury concerns. I guess Darnell Mooney would be the one, but A.J. Terrell's going to be back for them. And the Buffalo Bills defense just doesn't look very good. I mean, the entire team, honestly, relative to where they've been power rated, they've played well below that this year. So you get that. But then it gets to 3.5 across market yesterday, and some people are like, this has gone too far. I'm going to take the Bills at this point. And I also understand that. And I kind of think we're just settled in the range where this game has to be. I think you can make a sound argument for both teams here. Buffalo seems like a decent bounce back spot. There's no elements. They're playing inside against, a defense that has played well this year. They had some offseason acquisitions, but one that they should still be able to move the ball against. So I don't have a strong feel on this game. I was surprised to see, the amount of back and forth early on in this one, but I think that should make for an entertaining one for a watch along this week, Jay.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. Double header. Maybe we'll get like a nice little pizza from a pizzeria, as Jeff would say, for the game with the double header. Before I let you go, I have to ask you this. Leafs playing Habs tonight. Leafs at home opener, for the Leafs. Any opinion on that game? Do you have any prop bets for anyone in the chat? Doesn't have to be on that game in particular. Any prop bets in hockey at all tonight? Because I saw the chat was clamoring earlier. Hate to put you on the spot, but got it for the chat.
So no problem at all. So for those that don't know, I typically don't bet NHL till about, I want to say 3 weeks into the season. Just historically speaking, I like to have data from the current season to work with. I think a lot of times when players switch teams in the offseason, it's actually much more difficult to account for than one would think. So I am just going off whim here. So what I like to do early in the year when I'm playing props is just to play good numbers, honestly. And right now, Logan Thompson, FanDuel, his saves prop is like a full save lower than the rest of the market right now at 21.5, minus 122. So Logan Thompson in the Capitals Bruins game, I like that over. In terms of the Leafs game, I'll be rooting the Leafs tonight, but the Jays is going to be on the main screen for me at this point or another. I just don't want to lose to losing to the Habs, having to hear Moretto like that is going to make, that would be a catastrophe. It's almost as big of a loss just because I have to hear Moretto than it would be the Jays having to go to Game 5 because, I don't have any Yankees fans in my life that I hear from. But go Leafs. Logan Thompson over on saves. Go Jays. That's going to be my night tonight.
All right, Logan Thompson minus 122 over on FanDuel. Best price in market. You can find that. And I God forbid I cannot have the Leafs lose because I know Moreto's going to cancel every single booking we have for tomorrow's show. Going to come on the show and speak for an hour about how great the Canadians are, how great the organization is, how bad the Leafs are, how they'll never win again. I can't put up with that.
It's tough.
Physically,
I mean, I got to tell you, of all the fan bases I despise in sports, Montreal Canadiens fan base is number one. I used to have to go to Montreal for work like every 3 weeks or so, every 3 or 4 weeks. I'd go to the Bell Center all the time whenever they were playing home games. And I mean, they just have like another sense of reality with where their team is at. I guess all sports fans are kind of like that, but I'm not buying the Habs this year. And I hope they get schooled tonight.
I hope so, too, because I just checked who we have on tomorrow, and Alex did, in fact, book himself. So I'm fucking going to be so pissed if he comes on and he talks about the Habs for the full 20-minute segment here. But anyways, Rob, I appreciate you. We'll talk soon.
Okay, thanks, Jay.
All right. See you, Rob. That was a good one. One's in the chat for Rob. And also do us a favor, smash that like button. Goes a long way for us here on the channel. If you're new to the channel and you joined the show for the first time, I hope we earned your subscribe. If we didn't, let us know why we didn't. Thought today's show was excellent. Shows are usually excellent, but I thought today's was really a standout show. Listen, it's not going to be as good as it's going to be a lot better than tomorrow because Moreto's on. But like if we just like get Moreto of that segment, it's still a good show tomorrow. Speaking of tomorrow, like I said, Moreto's going to be on. He's in the 2 spot. George G Stack batting leadoff, getting to be talking Survivor. If you're still alive, a lot of carnage this week.
You guys did the Lions last week?
I don't think we did.
Who'd you have?
I think we took No, we did have the Lions. You're right. Winner. Gagnon. The American audience doesn't get that one. George is going to be batting leadoff. Moreto's going to come on talking hockey. Close out the show. Hitman going to be talking some props for this Thursday night football game. Reminder, get your questions in the chat because Hitman loves answering your guys' questions. It's been a little light on questions this week, but I think if you have a look for the Thursday night football game, if you're on the fence on something, Hitman can generally push you in one of 2 directions, whichever he feels is good. Coming up next at the Hammer at 1 p.m. Eastern. It's actually live right now, so when we get off here, go click on the show. Rob's got a great episode on Circles Off, talking about why you shouldn't buy picks, just going through pick selling a little bit. I know a certain person down 85-ish units probably is going to hate to see that, but I hope majority of his subscribers do view this and maybe unsubscribe from his service because, again, he's down 80. I think it's 83 last time I checked. I don't want to be wrong. Let me just quickly double check his forum here where he publicly tracks.
While you're checking, I just do want to say that the video is more of a conversation surrounding pick selling as a whole, and it does lead to some negative comments about pick selling. But Rob approaches it from a very open standpoint.
Of course. Also, it's all context dependent, but personally, I wouldn't be buying picks from someone who's down 83.71 units year to date as of October 5th.
You're going to like the video, Jason. Yeah, based on how you talk. You're going to like the video.
I can't wait. Anyways, that wraps up for today's show. Anything else we got on the docket in terms of up next at the Hammer? Is just that for today?
Nope. Wednesdays are you get to breathe a little bit.
There we go.
Behind the glass.
Then we dive back into it on Thursday.
Thursday we ramp it up again.
Yeah, we're gonna be back here noon Eastern time tomorrow. I told you the guests. That's gonna be great. Forward Progress going to be doing the Best Bets show. Rob will be there as well. And then, of course, Thursday Night Football Watch Along, which you have to tune into. They're just so much fun. They're my favorite things to do on the show. I love doing those. A lot of fun. Anyways, wishing everyone the best. Good luck on your bets. All those sorts of things. One last time, do us a huge favor. If you like the show, just click that button. It takes 2 seconds. It actually goes like way more long of a way than you can even imagine. I know I say that, but like, you'd be surprised how much it helps us here. So yeah, do us a favor, smash that like button. And that wraps it up for us here today. You've been watching the October 8th edition of the Hammer Daily here on the Hammer Betting Network, presented by FanDuel. We will see you right here tomorrow.